Behind me, the Pałac Pod Blachą here in Warsaw. This is the home of Prince Józef Poniatowski. His home, the place where he had his famous parties, also the War Office. Who was Józef Poniatowski? He was in fact a major figure in Polish history. Patriot, general, Minister of War, sometime Marshal of France. Join me in this episode of Poland Daily History, where we learn more about this remarkable Polish figure. At what point did the Grand Army decide to start retreating from Moscow?
When it turned out that the Russians were unwilling to start peace talks, and the winter was coming. The Russian winter is nothing you want to live.
No, of course not.
And as a matter of fact, in that time, that winter was very severe, even in Russian conditions and Russian terms, and the winter attacked very, very quickly, already in September, October. So the main reasons, the upcoming winter, the supplies that were shrinking,
yes,
and lack of interest on the Russian side to talk.
The Russians relying, as they have done it several times in history, on General Winter to do their fighting for them.
I mean, I would say that as much as it is very simple, banal as reason, it is correct. I mean,
and it was on the retreat from Moscow that Poniatowski was injured.
He was injured by the end of October, and he had to cede the commandment to General Zajączek.
And travel back to Warsaw in a carriage. So
carriage.
So he couldn't sort of lead or inspire his men very easily from a carriage. And Napoleon had by that stage given up and had returned to Paris.
On hearing that there is a coup in Paris, a certain General Mallet was engaged in that coup. He returned to Paris to stop that.
And he was successful.
And he was successful.
Yeah, and what happened to Poniatowski when he got back in December of 1812, got back to Warsaw?
He got back here to the Copper Roof Palace, or if you want to be precise and translate literally from Polish into English, Palace under tin. So he arrived here, and it was a very, very moving scene when he arrived here, and after a certain period of time, when he was sitting in front of the palace with all those furs on him, because it was very cold.
Of course, yes.
Last remnants of the Polish corps arrived in Warsaw, and he saw that Poles saved all the standards, unlike French, who lost them all. The Polish troops took all the standards. And I mean, it's something that only a soldier can truly understand.
Exactly, yes.
Because it's a matter of honor for a soldier. So that's and he was crying seeing these standards coming back to Poland.
And of the 100,000 or more Polish, the Polish contingent, do we have any knowledge of how many actually made it back?
Percentage-wise, much more than the French or the Italians, because they are unused to harsh winters and they didn't prepare well for the winter. Poles took furs.
Of course, yes.
And all this stuff, you know, to make it comfortable. I mean, it depends on how we count, because some of them stayed, were left, and they were believed to get killed in Russia, but they came back from the Russian camps.
From camps, right? Okay. So that gets us to the end of 1812. 1813.
1813 is crucial. I mean, that's the year when Prince Joseph is first about to has to decide whether to be faithful to the end.
Because it's interesting, because the Russian Tsar, the Russian troops are getting very close to Warsaw. They
capture Warsaw, yes. So Prince Joseph leaves that city and goes to Krakow.
But the Tsar was still quite keen to try and persuade Poniatowski to join the Russian side.
Yeah, he used his friend, Prince Czartoryski, to act as a mediator. And this guy was trying he would use and produce very rational and intelligent arguments that the war is over, Napoleon is over, that Poland will fall into Russian hands anyway. So there is no reason to fight against windmills.
Yeah, tilt against windmills. Yes, like in Don Quixote fashion.
That's what. Prince Joseph thought otherwise. I mean, he was a kind of medieval knight for whom such terms as honor, allegiance, loyalty were sacred.
Sacred. So swapping sides to join the Tsar and the Russians would have been, for him, a personal dishonor.
And the price he had to pay was the highest one. I mean,
yeah,
he died.
So there was a general. So as the Russians approached, then there was a general retreat to the south of Poniatowski. Whatever the Polish army was left, moving towards Krakow.
Remnants of the Polish army. 10,000 people, 12,000 people.
Something like that. Yes, I think I read even maybe as high as 20,000, but who knows at this remove. But gradually this movement south to Krakow and then into Saxony, I think I'm right in saying, from this sort of southwards and then westwards.
And in Saxony he joined Napoleon.
Yes, that's right.
So he managed to take part in the Battle of Leipzig, so the Battle of Nations, a 4-day battle.
That's right. And it was during that battle as a reward for, I think it was on the 16th of October, 1813, as I recall, as a reward for his service to France, he was created a Marshal of the French Empire.
The only foreigner
in
the Napoleonic army.
Because, of course, you know, as we know, I think it was Napoleon said that every private has a marshal's baton in his rucksack, meaning that it was now France's meritocracy. Everybody who fought was.
I mean, for Poniatowski, it was. For Poniatowski,
but if you're born a prince, these things mean less.
Exactly. I mean, it may be even regarded as diminishment because when you are a prince, you don't accept any title of. But
well, no. But I mean, I think I forget the name of the one. But of course, there were a couple of French marshals who did come from very humble backgrounds.
Murat.
Yeah, I think.
Ney. I mean,
Ney. I think of Ney actually.
Their fathers were nobody.
So there was, whereas of course the Duke of Wellington, of course, took a slightly different view of his army and said, "I don't know what they do to the enemy, but they certainly frighten me."